Um, Welcome you all to Lama Tsongkhapa's the Mahaparinirvana Day, Ganden Ngamchoe. In Tibet, it is being observed with incredible great the reverence and the piety and so forth, and people offering lights everywhere, and then particularly in the evenings, reciting the very sacred um, verse of praise to eulogy to Lama Tsongkhapa, written by first this eulogy offered to his own teacher by himself, and then his teacher, Jism Rendawa, he changed the name and handed it over back to him, saying that this eulogy fits better with you. So all over Tibet, this eulogy, Miksema, is being widely said, particularly on this day in the evening. You can see the whole Tibet vibrating, reverberating with this mantra everywhere you go. So, um, for these enlightened beings, the purpose for us to remember, to observe the ceremony as a ceremony is to reap the maximum benefit in terms of the holding the legacy of these great teachers, legacy in terms of study, reflection, and meditation. The way His Holiness the Dalai Lama this morning, during the public address, public teaching, he summarized the biography of the great teacher Lama Tsongkhapa in ways of as the first having engaged in extensive studies, in the middle having reflected and seen all the texts, important sacred texts, as the pit instructions, and then the third phase where he engaged in the practice of the Dharma days and night. So this is a summary of Lama Tsongkhapa's biography, and we as the followers of this incredibly great enlightened being to follow his footsteps, the way he tread on, and this is the manner in which we can do to remember him. Okay, so the Tibet House, we usually organize this Bodhichitta Day on this occasion, on the at least once in a month, but particularly coinciding with the auspicious days. And today corresponds to Lama Tsongkhapa's day, and also the 31st year of the conferment of Nobel Peace Prize on His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So it coincides with many important events. So we are going to take this the day as important day for us by taking the Bodhichitta aspiration Bodhisattva vow. So this best way by which we can repay kindness, by which we can hold the legacy of these great teachers like the Buddha Shakyamuni, Lama Tsongkhapa, and then His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and so forth. So in this connection, as always, the emphasis is that we're going to take the aspiration Bodhisattva vow in a little more detail, the proceedings with a little more detailed procedures. So this is what we follow on this day. And meanwhile, whatever we do, it may take a little longer in duration, like 1.5 hours. So what we suggest is that if in future, if you have if you are to take this aspiration bodhisattva in the future, then what I would say is that you can make display of the offerings on the altar, and first clean up the altar, make offerings including water balls, then the fruits, edibles, whatever you have, then the incense, then the lights, and so forth. You can make these offerings, and then you can make the 3 prostrations first, and then you sit. You take a sit. See, rather than as treating it like a regular teaching. So these are the, in fact, the more you engage in these activities, the sense of importance, a sense of the sanctity comes into being, and to that extent that you accrue the benefit. Okay, with this in mind, okay, if you have this text with you, the blaze of non-dual bodhicittas, then you can use this. And otherwise, for the rest of the participants, if you don't have this, we will do the screen sharing, and you can still take part in this. Okay. The first of all, usually the Buddha himself proclaimed that on the auspicious days, if one engages in virtues, they're going to be multiplied millions of times. This is what the Buddha indicated. So, with this in mind, to what extent is a virtue being the done? That is determined by various factors, one of which is our motivation. So the motivation, as for the motivation, just sit, relax, sit in a relaxed way. Just take 3 deep breaths, relax yourself. Then 3 points to keep in mind: visualizing the merit field or the refuge field, consisting of the Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Are Manjushri, Are Avalokiteshvara, Are Tara, Are Vajrapani, Are Nagarjuna, Are Maitreya, Are Nagarjuna, Are Sangha, Are Deva, Acharya Vasubandhu, Acharya Dignaga, then Acharya Dharmagirdi, Buddha Palita, Acharya Chandrakirti, Bodhisattva Shandi Deva, Bodhisattva Shandi Rakshita, Acharya Kamalashil, the great teacher Lama Selingbar from Indonesia, then Lama Atisha de Bengali Shirigyana, Guru Padmasambhava, the great saint Tilopa, the great saint Naropa, Chizumarpa, Chizumela, Chizunthapolaje, Sajin Kunganyingbo, Sakya Pandita, the 5 enlightened great Sakya masters, Atisha de Bengali Shirigyana, Tonigyo June, all Lebesherab, Lama Tsongkhapa, Gyaltsab Rinpoche, Khidru Rinpoche, and all the great enlightened beings in front of you. Visualize either in space in front of you or on a crown. They are so loving, caring, embracing. Just feel that. Take the inspiration that may I soon become one like each one of you, so that I can benefit all my dear sentient beings the way the Buddha Shakyamuni did, the way His Holiness the Dalai Lama is doing. Bodhicitta field. Visualize your 2 parents on the 2 sides. All your family members, including your children, and all dear sentient beings, the human beings, the animals, insects, hungry ghouls, hell beings, god and goddesses, Gandharvas, Asuras, all the beings living on a side around you. And here you are the mother, and all others are your children. Imagine how they suffer terribly, the way the child suffers, the way the mother of this single child feels so painful to see the child suffering. This is exactly how we should be able to visualize that all beings are suffering terribly. And you are the one to give love, affection, attention, and embrace to them. And the purpose of this practice is to awaken the seed of Buddha nature within us. Is to hold the lineage, is to hold the legacy of these enlightened beings, and particularly Lama Tsongkhapa, who manifested his embodiment on this earth, and then today he left us to pass his legacy on us. If we are not to hold this legacy for the benefit of all human sentient beings, who will do it? So with this commitment, just feel that I'm going to take this maximum opportunity to awaken the Buddha nature within myself, to awaken the wisdom of emptiness within myself, and to be the beacon of light, the beacon of hope for all human sentient beings. And imagine that all sentient beings are joining you, and you are leading this practice. On page 3. And teach by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Sangye Juda Zoge Chonam No Chanjo Bardo Dane Gyapsu Che Dage Jinso Kebe Chonamge Dola Penjire Sangye Jubare Sho Sangye Chodan Zoge Chonam Na Chanjo Bardo Dane Gyapsu Che Dage Jinso Kebe Chonamge Dola Penjire Sangye Jubare Sho Sangye Chodan Zoge Chonam Na Chanjo bardo dane gyapsu che dage jinso kebe chonamge Tola pengere sangye jubare sho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations to the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme of all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is freed of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all leads hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of paths causes those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience helps subdue and expand the varieties of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector to air prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations, and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays. To you, the Buddha, make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generally demand a full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, we'll recite this mantra 3 times. And those of us who, most of you know how to say this. And if you don't know, listen to us and join us. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful elaboration, free, clear light and non-composite. Such is the nectar like Dharma I've discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I'll return to the woods. Beyond our trends, thought and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. Is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times, are the obeisance. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are the nature of suffering. All phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries glow. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there's grasping, you do not have the view. Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha, page 14. Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. Good, thank you. Okay, say as a part of introduction to this, the Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha, I'd like to share with you that the sutra on the three jewels. There's a sutra on three jewels. Shariputra, at one point when the Buddha was presiding over gathering, Shariputra stood up to ask questions. First, the Shariputra himself, he was in his personal practice, in his dwelling, and then in the middle of his practice, just thought came to him. What would be like the benefit of taking refuge in the Triple Gem, in the three jewels? And given that the full awakened one, the Buddha, was residing within the same campus, so he was so enthusiastic. I must ask this to the full awakened one, the Tathagata Buddha. Then he stood up and he went towards the Buddha, made prostrations, and then he narrated this to the Buddha, that the Venerable Sir, in the middle of my practice, suddenly a thought came in me that as to how much merit one accrues by going for refuge in the Triple Gem. And the Buddha said, the question that came to your mind is extremely pertinent, it's extremely important. And the Buddha just asked Shariputra that just imagine that you fill the whole world with the highest quality, the butter or the oil, and then you put the Mount Meru as the wick, to burn the oil, and to offer as a light to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. How much merit do you think will that person accrue? And Shariputra responded, Venerable Sir, for sure, this merit that somebody accumulates would far excel the merit accumulated by Shravakas and Vedic Buddhas. And the Buddha said, if that's the case, then somebody going for refuge in the Triple Gem, the merit that one accrues is going to be far, far, far more than the one who offered the whole world of lights with to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So this is the amount of the merit that one is going to accrue if one goes for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And to what extent you accumulate merit, again, it depends on the quality of your going for refuge. So you know what the Buddha is, you know what the Dharma is, you want to know the Sangha is. And as per, most of you already studied Pramana Vartika chapter 2, and having studied chapter 2, from there you know that finally the Dharma, that is the true protection, and the Dharma in the context of Sugata meaning, the experience of the total bliss of the freedom from miseries. So that experience to be seen in the light of having a band in the form of cessation of sufferings, in the form of the realizations of the wisdom. So these two are the true protections or the refuge, and the Buddha is there as the guide to give this protection to the beings, and then the Sangha as there as assistant for us to in pursuit of this the true Sugatas or the truth of the Dharma, then the Sangha assist us. So this is how we have to keep in mind. And the Buddha, the manner in which he or she is the perfect guide is for the reason of him having experienced, or her having experienced three perfections: perfect knowledge, perfect love, and perfect power. So anybody who's empowered, who is endowed with these three qualities, no doubt is the best of the guide to lead the beings to the highest of the happiness. Okay, with this in mind, let's recite this praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder and the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, noble the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you are born on this earth, you pace out 7 strides, then set up in supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, win of the best, Lord, to you are prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I make prostrate. Does feel like you, the 3 worlds are not, incompatible wise one, to you are prostrate. A savior having great compassion, the founder having all understanding, a field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the Tathagata I prostrate. The purity that frees one from the lower realm, from attachment, the virtue that frees one from lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, though wholly feel qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the Sangha I prostrate. To not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of land, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, say conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the 4 faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Okay, Heart Sutra. It would be wonderful if we make it a point to read the Heart Sutra on a daily basis, and of course by knowing the meaning, and particularly the 3 points not miss as we read the Heart Sutra. Number 1 is what is the question asked by Shariputra? The question which Shariputra asked to Adavattishvara. And number 2 is the response given by Avalokiteshvara to Shariputra. And number 3, what is the benefit if we practice as indicated by Avalokiteshvara to Shariputra? What's the benefit? And the benefit in terms of seeing all phenomena as like dream. It's like you waking up from the sleep of ignorance. Then the say what's the benefit? That you will be free from all the fears dictated by your dream. You'll be free from all these the moment you wake up. So that this is waking up resembles you seeing the dream as dream. In the dream, you see the dream as real. Only when you wake up, you see the dream as dream. So seeing the dream as dream has a tremendous benefit that you'll be least affected by the contents of the dream. In other words, the dream of samsara. You'll be least affected by the dream of samsara. You'll be freed from all fears and uncertainties of samsara. Okay, let's read it together. I prostrate to the irretrievable gem. Thus did I hear at one time the Buddha was dwelling on the mass of Valchas mountain at Rajgriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Buddha was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound illumination. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound illumination of wisdom and behold those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the part of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Avalokiteshvara: how should any child of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom train? He said that, and a Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly, beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composite factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composite factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no smell, no touch, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element and so on, up to and including no mind element and no mental conscious element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in professional wisdom, the mind without obscuration, thus without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, there is the end point in nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the 3 times also manifest a complete awakening to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment, regardless of professional wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the professional wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, sincere, and not false. The mantra of the professional wisdom is declared, Deyata Om Gade Gade Para Sam Gade Bodhi Swaham. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva should train in the profound professional wisdom like that. Then the Buddha arose from that concentration and commanded the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Avalokiteshvara, and said, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound professional wisdom just as you've indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Buddha having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding the entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, as well as Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised as spoken by the Buddha. Okay, as we recite this mantra, we recite it 7 times. As we recite this, just visualize that we are all in Rajgir. I'm sure most of you have already been for pilgrimage to Rajgir, the Vulture's Peak, where the Buddha Shakyamuni taught Heart Sutra. Just visualize that you are there, and then the Buddha Shakyamuni is just sitting on the throne in front of you, and you, all the bodhisattvas, monks, nuns, all the people, all the beings, like infinite beings, they're just listening to them, the Buddha Shakyamuni. And imagine that Buddha Shakyamuni is exhorting us thus: don't remain in the fears of samsara. Come towards the ultimate happiness. and you are hearing this melodious voice of Buddha Shakyamuni, you imagine that you are then proclaiming this to all the beings. Look, this is what a compassionate teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni, has been exhorting us the following. Let us not remain in fearful samsara anymore. Let us all go towards ultimate happiness. And everybody hearing what you're saying, they're so inspired, they just sigh with the relief, and they follow you in the pursuit of this journey, in mental journey of cleansing the mind, of awakening this Buddha nature within ourselves. So with this mind, let's recite this 7 times together. Deata Om Gade Gade Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata. By the teachings of the three supreme jewels possessing power of truth, may inner outer hindrances be transformed, may they be dispelled, may they be non-existent, may they be pacified, may all negative forces opposed to the Dharma be completely pacified, may the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified, may we be separated from problems and conditions harmful to the Dharma, may all enjoyments be in accord with the Dharma, may auspicious and perfect happiness pervade this place now. Okay, we will turn to short mandala offering. The next one, next page. Okay, a short mandala offering. We'll say the first we'll say the English, then we'll say the Tibetan with the little bit of tune, and those of us who know this will join me. The others listen, and then you can join us. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. O Sajibhagya George Mandala The following two passages, they are so important. These two are so important for us. We can, in fact, see the whole Dharma, your whole lifelong Dharma, to be seen in the light of these points. And particularly the next set, which consists of 4 points indicated. This is so important that particularly, of course, all of us who are joining this program, no doubt you have a spiritual, say, the bent of mind. So just see that what you're doing is in accord with these 4 points, the following 4 points. The first 4, they're very powerful by Venerable Kambupa, which is in Tabolache, and the next 4 by the Ganden Ngamchoe. Okay, we'll say this together 3 times. May I be blessed that my mind is directed towards the Dharma. May I be blessed that my Dharma practice is on the proper path. May I be blessed that the path is free of flaws. May I be blessed that the flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. Becoming utterly frustrated with the ignorance that grasps at true existence, please bless me to generate genuine renunciation, seeing all aspects of samsara as vicious and repulsive. Please bless me that my mind stream overflows with the precious Bodhichitta that cherishes others more than myself. Please bless me to have an immaculate experience of the wisdom. Please bless me to have an immaculate experience of the wisdom of emptiness that does not see even an atom of intrinsic reality, on the basis of understanding how things come into being by dependent origination through mere conditioning. Please bless me that my mind stream overflows with the precious wisdom of the non-duality of bliss and emptiness. Edam Guru Rana Mandala Gamne. Okay, we'll read the foundation of all good qualities. Tibetan version of this is Yunden Shijulma. This is extremely important text, very short. It is in a way like a lamrim. It is a lamrim. Lamrim, very concise and easy for us to remember, recite, and the points reflected within a short span of time together. Okay. The foundation of all good qualities is a kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect, understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once, is greatly meaningful, and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly, day and night, takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of virtuous and non-virtuous karma will follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativity, and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeking them is the door to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great caution arise. The root of the teaching is keeping pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into the sea of samsara, so have all other migratory beings. Please bless me to see this, train in Supreme Bodhichitta, and bear the responsibility of freeing migratory beings. Even if I develop Bodhichitta, but I don't practice the 3 types of morality, I'll not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the Bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I pacify distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyze the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream the unified path of karma-abiding special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the 2 attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my life. Then, having realized the importance of the 2 stages, the essence of Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who show the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it have long lives. Please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separated from perfect Gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, may I could attain the state of Vajratara. Okay, we'll recite this Miximo mantra. So today is the Lama Tsongkhapa's day, the Mahaparinirvana, the day on which he assumed Mahaparinirvana, passing away. And then he left the incredible legacy of all this literature, incredibly precious literature, the guide, the roadmap to enlightenment. So this praise was actually he himself wrote to his teacher, the equating his teacher, equating his teacher with the three enlightened qualities of the Buddha, the perfect knowledge, referring to Manjushri, the perfect love, referring to the Avalokiteshvara, then the perfect power, referring to Vajrapani, and equating his teacher with these three enlightened beings, the wisdom, the power, and the love. And then his teacher, he read it, and then he just erased his name. This was the original version, which Lama Tsongkhapa wrote to his teacher, and then his teacher erased his name and replaced it with his student's name, Lama Tsongkhapa's name, and said that this praise fits better with you. It suits better with you. And then it becomes so blessed. And the Tibet, wherever you go in Tibet, we see that this mantra, the verse, is what reverberates all over Tibet, particularly on this today's evening. Okay, we'll say this 3 times, and then just to suit with the melody, we skip the third line. It's not for any other reason. We just skip the third line. Otherwise, when you just without the melody, if you are to say it just in its bare form, then you can recite all. You can say all the 5 lines. Otherwise, for the melody, in the tone, then the third line is skipped. Okay, we'll say this 3 times together. Those of us who know how to sing this will sing together. Those who do not, just listen to us and join us. zo ye zo ga mo lo sai cha be sha lai so wa de. English. Lord Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, and Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroyer hosts of demons without exception. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of snows, Lobsang at your feet I make prostrations. Okay, now the taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow as the part of this ceremony. In fact, let's keep in mind that we are all very fortunate, given that today corresponds to Lama Tsongkhapa's Ganden Ngamchoe, and that His Holiness is having been conferred upon him the Nobel Peace Prize, and this year is being observed as a gratitude year for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So it corresponds to all the important events today. And then taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, the Buddha, in fact, said that the bodhisattvas should not really learn in many trainings. In fact, if the bodhisattva has one training, one thing in his hand, everything will come in his palm or in her palm. So, and the Buddha rhetorically asked, what is that one thing? Responded, that is great compassion. So what we're doing here is the practice of taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow in order to activate this great compassion, eventually the Bodhichitta of the altruistic intention to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. So as a part of that, to make it very comprehensive, 4 things are required. Number one is number one is the wisdom. This wisdom to really cut the mental defilements, to really eradicate all the mental defilements so that your Buddha nature will become vibrant. But for that to happen, it must be supported by extremely powerful the intention, without which then the very sharp axe is there, lying there, but it cannot really be used to cut the poisonous tree. So in order that the sharp axe is of some use to cut the poisonous tree, there must be the enthusiasm. The carpenter, the woodcutter should have a tremendous enthusiasm that is equivalent to the bodhicitta, the altruism to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. So this enthusiasm required. And to feel this enthusiasm, a sense of urgency must be there, seeing the seriousness of the suffering nature of oneself and suffering nature of all the beings. One should be able to feel that. For that matter, we need to reflect on the renunciation. We do that on the basis of the reflection on the 4 seals. So this is what we're going to do. Number one is the wisdom, then the bodhicitta, renunciation. And all these 3 things must be supported by very powerful meditation, single-pointed meditation, which then makes it 4. So first we do the single-pointed meditation very briefly, and followed by renunciation, the 4 seals, then the bodhicitta. Bodhicitta, of course, given that we are together and we always run short of time, we'll do it on the basis of the 4 immeasurables. Otherwise, when you're doing that on your own, by yourself, then you can do okay. I did it already in my room. I already finished all this. What we are doing together, I already did it in my room. So I'm very fortunate. I'm doing the second time with you. Okay, so the point is that when you do on your own, then you can use the 2 methods: the 7-fold cause-effect method and the method of equalizing exchange yourself for others. Whereas in group, it can be a little time taking, so we make it short by the 4 immeasurables plus the bodhicitta commitment. Okay. So for the single-pointed meditation, I can see that I don't see any new phase here. So you're all very familiar to me, and there's no need for me to just repeat what I've already been sharing with you for the last many years. For single-pointed meditation, you just choose whatever meditation you like to do, be it breathing meditation or the Buddha Buddha image meditation, whatever you like, you just choose that. What is important is to make sure that your mind is not succumbed to laxity and excitement. And if any of these two things should happen, then apply the remedies, which is introspection and mindfulness. Okay, ready? Um, just let's say 2 minutes. Okay, next is four seals. The four seals as a part of the meditation renunciation. And for the four seals, the first, the renunciation. Renunciation, it means to renounce your miseries, to renounce your the pains, agony, anxiety, and so forth. And to renounce the miseries, we need to learn how to renounce the cause of the miseries. And the cause of miseries, we see that, finally we see that the cause of miseries boil down to four misperceptions of the reality, which are going to be rectified by reflecting on the four seals. So this is why meditating on the four seals play the most important role in say the meditation of the renunciation, which is the common practice for the Theravadan Buddhists, Chinese Buddhists, and Buddhists, and the Tibetan Buddhists. Okay, with this in mind, it's going to be guided meditation. It's going to be a guided meditation, which means that The instruction will be given from your side. Just try to follow the instructions to the best you can. And to the best you can, and if possible, try to invoke the respective experiences. Okay. Meanwhile, when you do that, I would highly, highly, highly suggest you not to close your eyes. When you close your eyes, then it's after lunch. Then it's not going to be meditation. Okay. So don't close your eyes. Just try to keep your eyes open. They say naturally half open, and the 45 degrees cast down, and just let it be like this. And your mental consciousness must be active to follow the instructions, and then follow the instructions, and try your best to activate the experiences. The transformation takes place through experiences, and experiences will come to us through reflection, and the reflection will be richer through your, say, the materials to meditate on. Okay, with this in mind, ready? Okay, renunciation is to renounce the miseries of samsara, and to renounce miseries of samsara, let us be mindful of what the Buddha taught, ye dharma hetu prabhava. All these phenomena, they arise from the causes. So, unless until one tackles the causes, the miseries will never be eradicated. So, how to get rid of these causes? The causes boil down to how Nagarjuna indicated. The karmas and affliction, the cessation karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from inappropriate attention of the conceptualization of inappropriate attention, which in turn arises from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. The elaboration ceases through the wisdom of emptiness. So, remembering these 4 lines of Nagarjuna, so let us work on to eradicate the ignorance by resorting to the wisdom. And it's given that the ignorance is of 4 kinds. Of course, there are numerous kinds of ignorance, but one which is responsible for these problems, all the miseries, is the 4-fold: misperceiving impermanence, impermanent phenomena as permanent, and suffering as happiness, impure as pure, and the self as of selfhood nature. So let's meditate on the 4 seals. The first, all composite things impermanent. Let us quickly recall the gross impermanence that one is experiencing in our life. The near and dear ones, extremely near and dear ones, who you have lost in your life. And 2019 simply disappeared. And 2020, in the wake of COVID-19, we talk about COVID-19, and now it's ending. And 2021 is coming, is now knocking at the door. 200 years ago, what is happening today? Here, there are a group of people making the most of this Mahaparinirvana Day of Lama Tsongkhapa. His Holiness the conferment of the Nobel Peace Prize on His Holiness Dalai Lama. And whereas other people are there, others are there, just obsessed with wealth, obsessed with power, and obsessed with indulgence and so forth. And some going through terrible miseries in hospitals and so forth. And some in just the spirit of the celebration, festivities, merriments, and so forth. This is exactly what happened. This was exactly what happened 200 years ago. There were people who were just born. There were people, young ones, the teenagers, young adults, middle-aged, then the old ones. And today, where are they? Not even a single person is alive today. They're all gone. In many of the who do we remember out of these people? Only just 0.0001% of the people we remember. Otherwise, most of them, 99% of the people, they are just long forgotten. And this is not just exception to them. 200 years later in the future, today, 7 billion human beings on this earth, guaranteed not even a single person is going to be left then. All are going to disappear. The way it did to the people of 200 years ago. This happened. And all of us who are together in this practice to extract meaning out of our life, we see that the 200 years later, how many of us are going to be remembered? Most likely not even a single person will be remembered then. This is the impermanence. And this is whether you accept it or not, it'll happen. Whether you like it or not, this is what is going to happen. This is reality. And this impermanence is possible only if there's a change happening this change happening over 200 years is possible. Only if this change is happening on a yearly basis, which in turn is possible only if this change is happening on a monthly basis, weekly basis, daily basis, hourly basis, minute basis, second by second basis, millisecond basis. So when you think about the change happening on the millisecond basis, it's so fast. All composite phenomena, your body, your mind, people around you, your family members, even a newborn child, even that person, even that child is moving so fast. This is reality. This is the impermanence, the power of this impermanence. And this impermanence marks our being, our body, our mind, and people around you. Even the Mount Everest, which seems so strong and eternal, is also of that impermanence. It's momentarily changing. From the point of view of the physicist, all composite, particularly material things, they're made of atoms, electrons, protons, and so forth, and they are in constant flux of change. This is reality. So given that this is what governs our body, so fast changing, although eyes are not seeing it, our eyes are so limited, our eyes are so gross and limited that it can hardly see this reality of a subtle impermanence within our body and the world. If this is reality, then where is this? It's like somebody, a stranger, picks us up and throws us into a very fast moving train. Was that like to you? So much of fear. It would be very scary. Faster the train moves, more the fear. Yes, exactly. This is how our body, which is like the train, is moving so fast. Yes, it's moving so fast, faster than the express trains. It's so scary if you're able to reflect thus. Where is this train taking us? It is decided by the train driver. If the train driver is your parents, no doubt they'll take us to the picnic spot. But if the train driver is the terrorist, they'll take us to the slaughterhouse. Slaughterhouse, no doubt. And even if it is your parents or somebody who is a neutral person, if they're dictated, if they're being under the force, under the sway, under the force of the terrorists, they'll take us to the slaughterhouse, like the airplanes which exploded the Twin Towers. In our case, unfortunately, while our mind is driving force, but this mind is being driven under the sway, under control of the worst of the two demons, self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. And as long as our mind is under the sway of these two, these two will only take us to the greatest of miseries, like sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, anguish, and so forth. And at the wake of the COVID-19, everybody's in a panic mood where there's a tremendous feeling of uncertainty there, so scared, everybody. So this is what marks the suffering, as long as we are under the sway of these two demons. So one moment of such suffering is good enough to nullify all the experiences of merriments, jubilance, parties, birthday parties, celebrations, so forth. One moment of the pain of having lost a near and dear one is good enough to nullify all the past experiences of the merriments. It's so big. Overall, samsara is extremely painful. There's nothing really there. We just live with a facade of joys, and underneath that, the very thin facade is all miseries, pains, agonies. And when will this stop? It'll never stop on its own. This is a self-perpetuating cycle known as samsara, known as wheel of this cyclic existence. Isn't there any hope for us that this will be brought to an end? Of course. Only if you realize that samsara, the reality of samsara, then we can think about terminating the causes of this samsara. What is the cause of the samsara? The ignorance. The ignorance. Okay, how to get rid of this ignorance? Ignorance is like darkness. In dark, we don't see the reality. And in dark, we don't see reality. Likewise, with ignorance, we don't see the reality. How to get rid of this darkness? It is only through introducing the light. Likewise, to get rid of the darkness of ignorance, it is only through introducing the light of the wisdom. What is the light of the wisdom? Wisdom is the awareness, whose apprehension of the object tallies with reality. What's the reality? The reality is what the Buddha indicated as third seal. Everything is the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Okay, we'll quickly meditate on emptiness. This is going to be a guided meditation. What are you doing? I'm meditating. And how does this person, who you refer to as I, appears to exist? Like a movie being projected by the movie projector? Or something so solidified, objectified there, nothing to do with the mind projecting it. Of course, it's not like a movie being projected by the projector. It is so solidified, objectified there. This perception, this apprehension of the self is known as the self-grasping ignorance, viewing the self as object real, when in reality there's no self which exists as solidly real or objectified there. How do you know that this is ignorance, that this does not tell its reality? Okay, if the self were to exist the way it appears, as so objectively real, remember what Nagarjuna said. If the mirage were to be water, one noble close by the mirage see water. Likewise, if this self were to exist objectively, why do I see this self as I go close to this object? Okay, let us now go closer to this object. Going closer to the object, just ignore all those things which are not the self. Okay, first what do you see? We just see a thin layer of the skin. Of course, that is not me. Behind that, fatty tissues. Of course, that's also not me. Behind that, cartilages, muscles, flesh. This is also not me. Behind that, the bones, the skeleton, the heart, the lungs, the brain, liver, gallbladder, the stomach, esophagus, pancreas, kidney. None of these solid part is me. This solid part constitutes the element earth. Element earth does not mean keep that aside. Element water, 4 liters of blood, which is being pumped in and out by your heart to different parts of the body. Even this element water is also not meant to be aside. Element of fire, the body heat, 2,500 joules of energy that your body has. Even that is also not self, keep that aside. Element of air, 4.6 liters of air that you breathe in and out through your lungs. Even that is also not the self, keep that aside. The space, 99.9% of the body is just a vacuum. The body is just made of billions of atoms. 6 into 10 raised to power 27 atoms, number of atoms. And these atoms are essentially vacuum in nature. The central nucleus and the electrons, the space is so big as compared to the space occupied by the electrons, protons, neutrons. So essentially we are like a vacuum person. But I'm not that space, because I'm a solid person and the space is vacuum in nature. If the space is also not me, keep that aside. What is left now? Only my mind is left. The consciousness is left. Even this consciousness also not me, because this consciousness does not have a gender. You're a male, you're a female, and the gender is posited on the basis of the body. The mind does not have a gender. So therefore, this mind or consciousness is also not you. And also that people can see you, but people cannot see your mind. So therefore, your consciousness is also not you. Keep that aside. What is left now? Nothing is left there. Okay, it's quite scary to experience that this self is not really there from the object. Stay in this experience for a while. Okay, stay in this experience. That's amazing. It's quite scary. At the same time, it is profoundly triangular in nature. The moment I experience that self is dissolved, self is no more there, extremely triangular experience comes to me. Goosebumps can come to me. Stay in this experience. This is the meaning of everything's nature, emptiness, selflessness. This amazing experience. But what's the benefit of this meditation? Yes, that's true. In this experience, just as this self dissolves, you subject anything to this analysis, you say that all these things will dissolve, and your sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, uncertainty, and so forth, they are no exception. They're all dissolved in this experience of the emptiness. Amazing. In this experience, all my miseries dissolve. Yes, this experience of emptiness, where all the miseries dissolve, is known as the transcendence of sorrow, where your sorrows dissolve. You transcend the sorrow. This is the nirvana. And the full version of this is Buddhahood. Okay, slowly come out of this practice. Come out. Okay. Now we will move to the Bodhicitta practice. For the Bodhicitta, we will do the, given that we are running short of time, we will do the just the first two immeasurables, immeasurable loving kindness and immeasurable compassion. Okay, ready? Good. Okay, sit upright. Again, it's going to be like a guided meditation. Just follow the instructions and try your best to invoke the respective experience. And for some people, you may feel that it's very superficial. It's not really how my mind thinks. It doesn't matter. This is how we have to. This is the meaning of the training. This is the meaning of the practice. Just as you practice the music, when you practice piano, keyboard, when you practice that, then there's no music come out of that. Just practice that, imitate what your teacher asks you to do, what your teacher does. You do it, and eventually it becomes music. Likewise, we do this practice, and then although it may not tally, it may not resonate with your experience, but over time it becomes a real experience. So precious. When you start to feel that, you see that your life becomes so easy, and your life becomes so beautiful. This is amazing. Okay, with this mind, immeasurable loving kindness. How good would it be that all my dear mother sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The causes of happiness primarily consisting of the wisdom of emptiness and the unconditional love of Bodhichitta. May all my dear mother sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, witnessing that you make such a courageous commitment, they're intensely happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke their compassionate, omniscient minds to send from nectar's very soothing lights to assume all dear sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies of beings of yours instills in all happiness and causes happiness in amongst the sentient beings to yourself. And you witnessing such miracles happening towards all the dear sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Immeasurable compassion. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all my dear mother sentient beings be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. Cause of suffering primarily consisting of self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, hearing that you are making such a courageous commitment, like the mother after all these many years of hardship, the eldest daughter, eldest son, tells the mother, "Mother, please take rest. You have done everything for us. You love us so much. We also love you so much. We are grown up now. I'll take care for all my siblings." And the mother could not believe her eyes and ears. This is exactly the happiness and joy all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are feeling today. And this intense love, joy, and happiness the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas experience today invoke the Varsha and the moon, invoke the compassion of omniscient minds to send from nectars very soothing lights to resume all sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies and beings yours washes away all the miseries and the cause of miseries from the minds of sentient beings to yourself. And you witnessing such miracles happening towards all of the sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Underscoring all the four principles is the unconditional love towards all human sentient beings. Just abide in this unconditional love that you're experiencing now. Imagining that you are looking at the eyes of each of sentient beings to the extent that each one of them feels themselves as so special in your eyes. With folded hands, I'll make a line of Bodhicitta commitment, and we'll all say this 3 times together wholeheartedly. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. Or you just visualize this bodhicitta which you've committed now to transform into a beautiful, the spotless clean moon disk, 1 inch or 1.5 inches in diameter, horizontally sitting with the heart. Okay, it's amazing that you made such a courageous commitment, but how do you know that you can become a Buddha? Yes, I have a Buddha nature within me. I'm not like a handful of sand, squeezing which no oil will come out of that. Instead, I'm like a handful of sunflower seeds, squeezing which oil comes out. Likewise, I have the Buddha nature within me. If I put effort, the Buddha nature will become manifest in the form of full-fledged Buddhahood. Okay, why not? It manifested till now, since time immemorial. Yes, that's true. It's all because that I'm being deceived by the two demons, self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude. Today, I'm disillusioned by the two demons. I'm not going to surrender to these two enemies anymore. I'm going to exterminate the two, no matter at what cost. Okay, how can I exterminate that? By cultivating very strong remedy, which is the wisdom of emptiness. Let's quickly retrieve the experience of emptiness, which we meditated before. Okay, what are you doing? I'm meditating. How does this person appear to you? So objectified there. This is deceptive. This is self-grasping ignorance. You see that you are just made of the 6 elements. Earth, your soul parts with your body. Water, the blood. Fire, the body heat. Air, the air that you breathe in and out. Space, and a consciousness. Which of the 6 elements is you? None. What is there as a self different from these 6 elements? Nothing is there. Where is this self now? Nowhere to be seen. Stay in this experience. This is not what your mind is exaggerating. This is what your mind is discovering. Slowly transform this awareness, this knowledge, that this self is not findable from the object, besides the mere appearance taking place to your mind, the way indicated by His Holiness this morning in his teaching. Besides the mere appearance, from the object there's nothing to be identified there as a self. From the object is totally empty. This wisdom emptiness, transform this into a spotless, clean, white Vajra, thumb-sized white Vajra, vertically sitting on the moon disk of the heart. What is amazing, we have the moon disk, which is symbolic of the conventional bodhicitta, to eradicate the self-centered attitude, and a Vajra, symbolic of the ultimate bodhicitta, to eradicate all the mental defilements, including the self-grasping ignorance and its subtle stains. Is amazing. Yes. What about you two parents? What about all your dear sentient beings? Yes, that's true. So just for me to be liberated and all the beings to continue to remain suffering, this is totally unacceptable. So with this tremendous love, affection, and compassion towards all the dear sentient beings, invoke the Vajra moon at your heart to multiply infinite number of times. Share one set of the Vajra moon at the heart of your mother, one set at the heart of your father, one set with each one of your children, and each of the sentient beings, the humans, animals, insects, hungry ghosts, health beings, god goddesses, the Gandharvas, spirits, asuras, all the beings. Wow, that's amazing. All the beings have the Vajra moon now. That's amazing. Let us not forget that all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they're watching us. So, why not we invite all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas to be the witness, to be the witness, and also to be the guest. With this in mind, as a gesture of making a request to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Along with all German sentient beings, let us stand up to make 3 prostrations to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And let us not forget to also visualize your parents, all the family members with you, to make sure that they also take part in this program, so that they get it is their share of accumulating enormous merit towards Buddhahood. Okay, if you don't have any problem with your knees, if you don't have any health issues, you are advised to sit on your right knees. Sit on your right knees, and then because it'll take a little time, it may take about like 7, 8, 9 minutes, or maybe 10 minutes. In the middle of what we're doing, if you start to feel the pain, then you feel free to sit in the most comfortable position. Okay. So what we do is that you visualize all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas in front of us, in the space in front of us, and you visualize your two parents, your children, all the family members, all sentient beings around you, and imagine that you are leading this, and all beings are joining you. And this is extremely important, the part of the ceremony. And of course, as I said earlier, in the middle, if you start to feel the pain, then I would suggest you to sit in the most comfortable position. Okay, because if the pain distracts you, then the purpose is defeated. So with this in mind, just visualize that. Just imagine that you are like a 5 years old child, 5 years old girl, 5 years old boy, and then for the first time in your life, you are making public appearance on behalf of your school, and your parents leave everything behind, all the works, to come to support you, to give you moral support, and amongst the audience, waving their hands to you to say that you are perfect, you are doing perfectly well, and they feel so proud of you. This is exactly what we should visualize ourselves, or the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, like your parents. They are so excited, so happy to see that you are doing something so good today, and with this in mind, and then you, as the eldest child, you are taking along with you all the sentient beings as like toddlers, small babies with you towards enlightenment, and everybody so happily joins you in this taking of the Aspect Bodhisattva vow. So with this in mind, the first stanza, I'm going to quickly give the explanation, and meanwhile, if you start to feel the pain, sit in the most comfortable position. Okay, the first stanza reads, I go for refuge to the triple gem, which means that when you take any, the commitment, it must be supported by the incredible support. So the greatest of support that you can think of is the triple gem, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And then this is the journey of becoming enlightened, journey to achieve enlightenment. For that matter, this journey involves two things. One is the road must be very clear, and that the car should have enough fuel. If the road is not clear, if the road then is blocked by boulders, trees, and so forth, then the car cannot go. So the road must be clear, and this road is none other than your own mind. Your mind must be clear of the mental defilements, negativities, and so the best way by which to clear the mental defilements and negativities is by confessing the negativities. So the second line says, "I confess the negativities individually." Now the road is very clear, but if the car does not have fuel, again the car cannot move. So the car is none other than your mind. Your mind requires a tremendous fuel of the virtues. And the best way by which to accumulate tremendous virtues within a short span of time is by rejoicing in the virtues of all the beings. So the third line says, I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. Now that the road is very clear and the car has enough fuel, what kind of journey are you going to undertake? I'm going to undertake the journey of becoming enlightened. So the fourth line says, I hold precious Buddhahood in my heart. Okay, let's say this 3 times together. Wholeheartedly, you are leading this, and all beings are joining us, and you are encouraging all the beings to join you, and all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas are watching out, like your parents, they coming to give you moral support with so much of excitement, love, and affection. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. Okay, now you can take the aspiration Bodhisattva vow on the basis of the first stanza, but if you add this to the next 2 stanzas, it's going to be very powerful. So the next 2 stanzas is the invoking Gurus, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. Okay, meanwhile, if you start to feel pain, please sit comfortably. And you invoke Gurus, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and the next 2 lines, the first line is pertaining to the Buddhas, and the second line is pertaining to yourself. The first line is how this Prince Siddhartha or all the other Buddhas, just one prince, one person, become enlightened, is able to benefit innumerable beings. How did this Prince Siddhartha succeed in this? Is by the 2 factors. The first is he generated very strong the altruistic mind of Bodhichitta. He generated the mind to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. And then to materialize this aspiration, then he engaged in the Bodhisattva practices, 6 perfections and the 10 perfections. 6 perfections plus 4 making 10. So the next stanza is, okay, if this is how he succeeded, I'll also follow his footsteps. I'll also follow his footsteps by generating a very strong bodhicitta commitment, making commitment to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. And then the second one, to materialize this aspiration, I'll also engage in the bodhisattva practices, 6 perfections, and the 4 perfections making 10. Okay, this is what we're going to read wholeheartedly 3 times. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhicitta, and just as they successively dwell in Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Just feel the joy of having received the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. And having received the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, you have no commitment, you have no special commitment. It is at the most, it is to make a commitment that I'll try my best not to harm others. If possible, I'll try to benefit others. If not, at least I'll not harm others. This much if you can commit, you have received the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. You're very fortunate, and imagine that this is the greatest gift that you can offer to your 2 parents, to your children, to all the dear sentient beings. And today you gifted this thing this is the best way by taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. And then if there's one gift, if there's one offering which you can make to make all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas the most happy, today what you've generated, what you've done, this is what makes all of them so happy, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas so happy and proud of you. It is like, let's say, a child, 6 years old, 7 years old child, always bringing complaint from the school always complaining about the child to the parents, and the parents are always feeling so demoralized, sad to hear news from the school. But today, the school principal, escorted by the school teachers, they come to the mother, and the mother again becomes a little apprehensive and worried. Any complaint? School principal said, no, not at all. Your daughter and your son, two of them, appointed as selected as the best students of the school for this year. Your mother could not really believe what is happening today. This is exactly what all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they have been feeling today. So since time immemorial till now, they have been expecting everything good from us, that we do only virtues so that we don't suffer. But on the contrary, we only create problems, we only engage in negativities, always bringing embarrassments to the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. And today what you did really made the Buddhist Bodhisattvas so proud and happy. So this pride and happiness Buddhist Bodhisattvas feel invoke the Vajra moon at the hearts of the Buddhist Bodhisattvas in full-fledged form. Just visualize them to multiply infinite number of times. In barrage, like rain shower, these replicas of the Vajra moon from the Buddhist Bodhisattvas descend to merge for the one that you visualize in your heart, thereby becoming non-dual, blessed, and stabilized. Likewise, replicas of the Vajra moon from the hearts of all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas in barrage, like rain shower, they descend to merge for the one that you visualize in the heart of your mother, at the heart of father, at the heart of each one of your children, the human beings, animals, insects, hungry ghosts, health beings, Gandharvas, Asuras, god and goddesses, all the beings, thereby blessing, become non-dual and stabilized of the Vajra moon that all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, all the sentient beings you have generated and given. Okay, this greatest gift that you have made to all the sentient beings and the greatest offering to all Buddhist Bodhisattvas, it all happened because of the kindness of the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. As a gesture of thanking all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, along with all sentient beings, let us slowly stand to make 3 prostrations to all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. Okay, so we are done with the ceremony. Meanwhile, we have accumulated, no doubt, this is how we make this day very special. This is the best way by which to make it special. And His Holiness has been always encouraging us to practice Bodhicitta, practice the wisdom of emptiness, and this is exactly how we do. And if we can do it, of course, on a daily basis, if not, then once in a week or once in a month, that would be incredibly great. And you will see that your life will become much more easier. Your life will become very beautiful with this practice. You can start to feel your compassion increasing. That is so beautiful. Okay, so now that we are very fortunate that we are doing this, and then to make sure that this is how we can expect to really move from the state of darkness to the state of ultimate happiness, the light of the happiness. But what about next life? So next life we have to include that in the form of an extremely powerful prayer. So this stanza that we're going to read together is for us to be connected to the same practice in the next lives also till Buddhahood. Okay, let's say this 3 times together along with all the sentient beings and the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. They're watching us. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. And the remaining stanzas extracted from the Bodhisattva Shantidev's text, guided Bodhisattva's way of life, to feel the joy, to rejoice over our having received the aspect of Bodhisattva vow, so that in the next lives, just by hearing the word Bodhicitta, this imprint of rejoicing will be activated, and you feel so connected, you feel like crying, you feel like just embracing to look for where this is coming from. Bodhicitta, where is this teaching? So this is how you'll be reconnected, and you can actively go into this practice. And this is how we say the life from life to life, we go closer towards enlightenment. Okay, let's say this together. In order to further increase this bodhicitta from now on, those with discernment and who have lucidly seized and awakened the mind of bodhicitta in this way should highly praise it in the following manner. Today my life has borne fruit. Having well obtained this human existence, I've been born in the family of the Buddha and now one of Buddha's children. Thus, whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble and unsullied race. Just like a gold-blind person discovering a jewel of heap of rubbish, likewise by some coincidence an awakened mind has been born within me. It is the supreme ambrosia that overcomes the sovereignty of death. It is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all poverty in the world. It is the supreme medicine that quells the world's disease. It is a tree that shelters all beings wandering untied on the path of conditioned existence. It is the universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth. It is the dawning moon of the mind that dispels the torment of disturbing conceptions. It is the great sun that finally removes the misty ignorance of the world. It is the quintessential butter from the churning of the milk of Dharma. For all those guests traveling on the path of conditioned existence who wish to experience the boundless happiness, this will satisfy them with joy, and I shall place them in supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors, I invite the world to be guests at a festival of temporary and ultimate delight. May gods, demigods all be joyful. Okay, yeah, so we finish the taking the aspiration Bodhisattva Bodhicitta day, the taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. We completed it with great success, and then dedication. And before that, what I'd like to share with you is that this evening, so it now is like almost 3:52, at 5 o'clock, at 5, at Tibet House will have a short ceremony of let's say the celebrating His Holiness the Dalai Lama, for His Holiness the Dalai Lama being the conferred upon him the Nobel Peace Prize, and also to listen to Mr. Tenzin Gyatso Tetong, who was the secretary to His Holiness the Dalai Lama for about 40 years, and then he wrote a book on His Holiness, pictorial book on His Holiness, and he's going to speak on that a little bit. And then some of the participants will be invited to ask questions to him directly. And then we also have so this year is being observed as the gratitude year for His Holiness the Dalai Lama's the bringing such a light, such a joy, such a meaning to the whole world. So it being observed, the whole year is being observed as the year of gratitude. And the minister, Tibetan minister education minister from Dr. Pema Yongjin from the Central Tibetan Administration will be giving a brief address on, say, the basic ideas that made the Central Tibetan Administration to observe one year as a gratitude year. Then we have other book release, the program of Tibet House. We offer a scholarship to a scholar through competitive interviews, and through the essays. We give a scholarship to one scholar once every 3 years to write a book. And we are going to launch a book which the scholar for the Sambodha scholarship, which Tibet House provided to the scholar from Varanasi, assistant professor, Dr. Chamba Chindal. His book is going to be released. Okay, so there are several things happening, and also the essay competition. We launched the essay competition on His Holiness's the 4 commitments, and also the the universal ethics on form the same school level and the open entry in Tibetan language as well as the English language. So the results are going to be declared this evening. So from 5 to 6:30, it's just 1.5 hours program. Okay, so we invite you to join. Okay, so we'll do the end direction prayer. It's amazing. Just feel the joy over having received the aspects Bodhisattva vow, that we're able to meditate on renunciation, the four seals, Bodhichitta, wisdom and emptiness, and second part of meditation. This is extremely meaningful day on Ganden Ngamchoe, the day of Lama Tsongkhapa, and we'll dedicate marriage accordingly. Let us pray that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth, that he lives long and that his wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. And may all the great monastic universities like Sera, Debung, Ganden, and the monastic universities of Sakya, Kaiku, Nyingma, Gelug, and the monastic universities of the Theravada tradition, Chinese tradition, Tibetan tradition, may all they thrive in the activities of study, reflection, meditation. And may the teaching of Bodhichitta, teaching of wisdom and emptiness, thrive in the minds of all sentient beings today and the future. And may the COVID-19 subside completely, and that everybody will have us a fresh breath of air to feel the normalcy, that the miseries will come to an end. So with this mind, let's do the end direction prayer. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful cherish the Tenzin Gyatso. Please remember until samsara ends. Just as brave Manjushri summoned about the true, realize things as they are. Also, I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue, with the direction praised as the best, by all the Buddhas who appear in the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the Supreme Bodhichitta, there is no rest in the rising grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of the Guru Buddha, and lead all beings without exception into the enlightened state. I dedicate the merits thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and prayers of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of 3 times, and to the upholding of the Dharma of teaching and realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect 2 stages. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy, and may the forlorn find new hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from the illness, and may every disease in the world never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. By the merits I've accumulated, may every single being abandon all forms of wrongdoing and perpetually engage in virtue, and may parted from the mind of Bodhichitta, and may they always engage in the Bodhisattva's conduct. May they be cared for by the Buddhas and relinquish the actions of the devils. May all living creatures never suffer, commit wrong or evil, ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled, or their minds ever be depressed. May all the pains of living creatures ripen solely upon myself, and through the might of the Bodhisattva Sangha, may all beings experience happiness. Having dispelled all inner and outer obstacles and downfalls, such as poverty, despair, and oppression and cruelty, epidemics and natural disasters due to environmental degradation, may all beings forever enjoy the glory of peace and happiness. Okay, I'll go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and may Dharma and the auspicious and proliferate in all the places where we abide. The power of the unity of emptiness and compassion is loosely explained by the protector of both the Dharma and the beings of the land of snows. You are the lotus holder of Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations, the evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans or non-humans who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be truly vanquished through the power of the truth of the three jewels. By the dependent realization of profound suchness, appearances, and emptiness, together with the force of great compassion of the three jewels and the power of truth, may the virtue of infallible law of karmas and their fruits, may this fruitful prayer for ours be unhindered and quickly fulfilled. May the teachings of this beneficent one, till world's end, be unshaken by the wind of evil thoughts. May it always be met by innumerable beings who find conviction in the teacher by understanding the teaching's true nature. May I never falter even for an instant to uphold the excellent way of the sage, which illuminates the principle of dependent origination through all my births, even giving away my body and life. May I spend day and night carefully reflecting by what means can I enhance his teaching, achieved by the Supreme Savior, through the strenuous effort over countless aeons. In all my lives, never separate from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of stations and the paths, may quickly attain the Sri Vajratara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of the dependent origination in particular, even across my life. Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Okay, thank you. See you all. If you're joining us, then in next 1 hour, 5 o'clock. Okay. Otherwise, see you next time. Okay, bye-bye. And in the evening, you can recite more of the Buddha Shakyamuni mantra, then Mixama. And if you meditate on emptiness Bodhicitta, that's the best. And the physical life. Okay. So those who did not get the link for the WebEx or for the Zoom, you can watch the next program in Facebook Live, Tibet House. Okay, thank you. May you all have a very virtuous evening. Yeah, virtuous evening to all of you. Yeah, take care. Bye-bye. Yeah.